I was approved for 4 days of leave, not a minute more. The Navy doesn't do long goodbyes or flexible returns. You get a window, you use it, and you go back. I landed early Friday morning, picked up a rental car, and drove straight home. Kayla had school that day, so I didn't wake her. I unpacked, started a load of laundry, and checked my email out of habit. Old routines are hard to turn off. Kayla came home just after 3, backpack slung, low earbuds out, already asking what we were having for dinner. She dropped her bag by the door, washed her hands without being told, and opened her planner at the kitchen table. She had a study schedule mapped out by hour. That didn't come from school, that came from watching me. I asked about classes. She gave me the short version. Grades were good. A counselor meeting was coming up. ROTC paperwork was still in progress. She slid a stack of practice problems toward herself and got to work. I watched her for a moment and then looked away. I'd learned a long time ago not to interrupt focus. My phone buzzed. Jennifer, 3 missed calls, then a text. Sunday dinner. Mom wants everyone there. Don't be late. Jennifer didn't ask. She never did. She arranged, she scheduled. She made sure things happened on her terms and then called it family time. I stared at the message, thought about replying, and set the phone face down instead. Kayla kept working. The pencil moved steadily across the page. Saturday went the way Saturdays usually did when I was home. Grocery run, oil change, a quick visit to my parents to drop off mail that had piled up. My mother hugged me too long. My father asked about work and listened with half his attention while the TV murmured in the background. Jennifer wasn't there. That was intentional. She preferred an audience. By Sunday afternoon, Kayla was dressed and ready before I was. She chose a simple sweater and jeans, hair pulled back. No jewelry, no fuss. She packed her book and calculator into her bag. You don't have to study there, I said. I know, she said, but I can. The drive to my parents' house took 20 minutes. Kayla reviewed notes at stoplights. I focused on the road. I'd been to this dinner 100 times. Same house, same table, same seating. It was predictable in a way deployments never were. The door was already open when we arrived. Voices carried from the dining room. Laughter. Glasses clinking. The smell of roast beef and potatoes. My mother rushed out to greet us, apron on hands damp. You made it, she said, like there had been a doubt. Jennifer appeared behind her perfectly styled earrings, catching the light. She looked Kayla up and down, then me. You're home, she said. For how long? 4 days, I said. She nodded like she was filing it away. Well, we'll make the most of tonight. Marcus was at the table already holding court. He stood to shake my hand, grip firm, smile wide. Good to see you, he said. You still traveling all the time? Yes. Must be tough, he said, not waiting for an answer. I don't know how you do it. I like being where the action is. He gestured at the table like it was a stage. Jennifer took her seat beside him. Kayla sat where she always did, near the end bag, tucked under her chair. She pulled out her book and opened to a marked page. No one commented. They never did. Dinner started with small talk that wasn't small at all. Marcus talked about sales numbers, new hires, expansion plans. He liked to explain things that didn't need explaining. Jennifer laughed at the right moments and touched his arm when he landed a point. My parents listened, proud and uncomfortable at the same time. Someone asked Kayla about school. She answered politely and went back to reading. Jennifer watched her for a second too long. You're always studying, Jennifer said. Do you ever take a break? Kayla looked up. I do, Jennifer smiled. Didn't reach her eyes. Just making sure you're not missing out. I caught my mother's glance. It said, please don't start anything. I kept my hands on my fork and continued eating. Marcus launched into a story about a property he'd just leased downtown. Prime location. Great deal. He named the building, quoted the rent, talked about how desperate the owner had been to fill it. Heads nodded. Questions followed. He answered them all, enjoying the attention. Kayla turned a page. Jennifer leaned back in her chair and crossed her arms. She watched Marcus talk, then looked at Kayla again. Her mouth tilted at one corner. It was the same look she'd worn when we were kids, and she'd figured out how to get what she wanted without asking. I felt it then. Not anger. Recognition. The room hadn't changed, but the air had. I took a sip of water and set the glass down carefully. My laptop bag rested against my leg. I hadn't planned to bring it out. I rarely did at family dinners. But habits die hard. Jennifer cleared her throat. So she said, looking straight at Kayla, "All that studying. You ever think about what comes after?" Kayla closed her book just enough to hold her place. Yes. Jennifer reached under the table and came back up with something in her hand. It was a mop. Wooden handle worn smooth. I recognized it. My mother's hallway closet. Jennifer set it across her palms like it was a gift. "This is your future," she said, voice light, smile fixed. "Get used to it." There was a beat, then a few chuckles. Not loud, not cruel, just enough. Kayla looked at the mop, then at Jennifer. She took it, set it beside her chair with care, and opened her book again. The pencil resumed its steady movement. No shaking, no pause. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't stand up. I adjusted my chair an inch closer to the table and rested my forearms where everyone could see them. Marcus kept talking to momentum unbroken, but his eyes flicked toward me, and then away. I opened my laptop. The laptop screen lit up with a soft glow that didn't draw attention right away. Marcus was still talking, his voice riding the room, like background noise confident enough to assume no one would interrupt him. I didn't say anything. I rested my thumb on the trackpad and let the screen settle at a comfortable angle, just enough for me to see it clearly. Jennifer noticed before anyone else did. She always did. She'd been watching me more closely than she let on, waiting for a reaction she could label as overreacting. When she saw the laptop, her smile tightened. Not enough for anyone to comment, but enough for me to register it. "You working on your leave?" she asked, tone casual, eyes sharp. "Just checking my schedule," I said. Marcus laughed. "She never turns it off," he said to the table. "That's the military for you. Always on call. I don't know how you live like that." I didn't answer. I clicked through a calendar invite, then an email, not in a rush. Jennifer leaned back in her chair and crossed her arms the way she did when she felt like she was losing control of a room. Jennifer has always kept score. Not with numbers, but with moments. Who got praised? Who got attention? Who looked better in front of other people? Growing up, she learned early that visibility mattered more than substance. If something couldn't be seen, it didn't count. When I joined the Navy, she congratulated me loudly and then asked quietly when I planned to come back and do something real. When I deployed for the first time, she posted about how hard it must be for her to worry about me. When Kayla was born, Jennifer brought gifts and advice and a running commentary on everything I was doing wrong. I stopped correcting her years ago. It never changed anything. At the table, Marcus finished his story and took a sip of wine. "Anyway, he said this place downtown is going to be a game changer. Best team, best location. You'll see." "I'm sure," Jennifer said. She glanced at Kayla, then back at Marcus. It's nice to see someone planning ahead. Kayla didn't look up. Her pencil moved, paused, then moved again. Jennifer tilted her head. "You know, she said planning is important, especially if you don't have options." My mother shifted in her chair. "Jennifer," what Jennifer said. "I'm just saying, not everyone has the same path." I felt the familiar pressure behind my eyes. Not anger, fatigue. Jennifer wasn't improvising. This was something she'd rehearsed. She'd chosen tonight for a reason. Audience matters to people like her. Marcus jumped back in. "That's why I tell my guys," he said, "you don't wait around. You take what's in front of you." Some people spend their lives preparing and never actually build anything. He smiled in my direction like it was a compliment. I clicked another tab open. The Wi-Fi was slow, but it didn't matter. I wasn't in a hurry. Jennifer reached for her water glass and didn't drink from it. "Kayla," she said. "What are you even studying right now?" Kayla answered without looking up. "Math." Jennifer laughed lightly. "Of course it is." My father cleared his throat. "She's always been good with numbers." "Yes," Jennifer said, "but grades aren't everything. The world doesn't care about test scores." Kayla finally looked up. "They matter to me." Jennifer blinked, surprised. She recovered quickly. "That's good. I just don't want you getting your hopes up." I closed the calendar and opened my email. The inbox loaded slowly, message by message. Jennifer watched the screen more than she watched Kayla now. You still running around all the time, she asked me. You ever think about settling down somewhere permanent? I mean, Kayla's not getting any younger. I have a plan, I said. Jennifer smiled again. I'm sure you do. Marcus leaned back. Some people are planners. Some people are builders, he said. I prefer to show result. He gestured around the table. Jennifer's earrings caught the light when she nodded along. My mother looked at her plate. My father focused on cutting his food into precise pieces. Jennifer leaned forward. I just worry, she said, voice softening in a way that sounded caring if you didn't know her. Kayla sees all this discipline and thinks that's enough. But discipline doesn't always pay the bills. I felt Kayla's foot brush mine under the table. Not a plea, a signal. She was fine. I've paid my bills, I said. Jennifer shrugged. For now? Marcus laughed again, louder this time. Hey, there's nothing wrong with honest work, he said. Someone's got to do it. A few people smiled. Someone else chuckled. No one said a word. I scrolled. The email thread I needed was there exactly where it always was. Subject line clear. Dates lined up. Names spelled correctly. I didn't open it yet. Jennifer noticed my stillness. You're awfully quiet, she said. Everything okay? Everything's fine, I said. She studied my face like she was looking for a crack. She didn't find one. Jennifer has always believed that silence means surrender, that if someone doesn't argue, they've lost. It never occurred to her that silence can be a choice. She reached for the mop again, nudged it slightly with her foot so it leaned more visibly against Kayla's chair. Just being realistic, she said. Better to know where you're headed than to pretend otherwise. Kayla adjusted her notebook. She wrote one more line, then set her pencil down carefully parallel to the edge of the page. I placed my palm flat on the table. Not to stop anything, just to ground myself. Marcus, Jennifer said, tell her about the lease again. The part about the owner practically begging. Marcus smiled, eager. Oh yeah, that was the best part. As he started over, I clicked the email open. The screen refreshed. The sender's name appeared at the top. I angled the laptop slightly closer to me, still not turning it outward. Jennifer's eyes flickered from Marcus to the screen and back. For the first time that night, she looked uncertain. The email sat open on my screen, while Marcus repeated himself louder this time, filling in details no one had asked for. I let him talk. I didn't look at Jennifer. I looked at Kayla. She had shifted the mop slightly, so it wasn't touching her leg anymore. Not out of disgust, out of neatness. She lined it up with the chair parallel to the table leg, then pulled her notebook back in front of her. The page was full of clean handwriting margins, straight numbers boxed. She turned the page once and kept going. Jennifer noticed. She always noticed when Kayla refused to perform. You're really not embarrassed? Jennifer asked, trying to keep her tone playful. Kayla didn't answer right away. She finished the problem she was working on, wrote the answer, then looked up. No, she said. Why would I be? A couple of people shifted in their seats. Someone cleared their throat. Jennifer laughed, a short sound that didn't land. I'm just saying, Jennifer said. Most kids would be mortified. Kayla shrugged. Most kids aren't me. That caught Marcus's attention. He stopped mid-sentence and glanced down the table. You got a little attitude there, he said. Kayla met his eyes. I'm focused. Marcus smirked. On what you think a book's going to save you, I set my hand lightly on Kayla's shoulder. Not to stop her, just to let her know I was there. She's doing fine, I said. Jennifer waved a hand. Relax, we're teasing, it's family. Kayla went back to her notebook. The pencil scratched steadily. I recognized the rhythm. She did that when she was blocking out noise. She'd learned it on long nights, waiting for me to get back from duty, sitting at the kitchen table working through assignments while the house stayed quiet. When Kayla was younger, people mistook her calm for passivity. Teachers, coaches, even relatives. They'd say she was shy or withdrawn. They didn't see what I saw. She wasn't shrinking. She was choosing where to put her energy. That came from watching me pack bags at odd hours. From learning that you don't argue with a schedule, you adapt to it. You don't complain about what you can't control. You prepare for what you can. Jennifer leaned closer. So what's the big plan then? She asked Kayla. All this studying has to be for something. Kayla paused, then answered without lifting her head. I'm applying for a scholarship. Oh, Jennifer said. Which one? Several. Marcus laughed. That's cute. Kayla looked up again. It's not cute. It's competitive. I felt a flicker of something in my chest. Pride, maybe? Or relief. Jennifer tilted her head. And if that doesn't work out? Kayla's pencil stopped. Then I try something else. Jennifer smiled, slow and deliberate. You know, not everyone gets to choose. Some people just end up where they end up. Kayla considered that. I know. And you're okay with that? Jennifer asked. I'm okay with working, Kayla said. I'm not okay with being told I don't have options. The table went quiet. Marcus opened his mouth, then closed it. My mother reached for her napkin and folded it again, unnecessary but deliberate. Jennifer recovered quickly. No one said you didn't have options. You did, Kayla said, nodding toward the mop. Jennifer's eyes flicked down then back up. It was a joke. Kayla wrote one more line and closed her notebook. She stacked her papers neatly and slid them back into her bag. Jokes are usually funny. I hadn't told Kayla what to say. I hadn't coached her. I'd only ever told her to be honest and stay composed. She was doing both. Marcus leaned forwards. Listen, he said, voice dropping into something he probably thought was advice. The world doesn't hand out gold stars for effort. You've got to prove yourself. Kayla looked at him. I am. Jennifer scoffed. By studying at dinner, by preparing, Kayla said. I don't need an audience. That landed harder than anything else she'd said. Jennifer looked at me, searching for something. Permission. Disapproval. A crack. She didn't find it. I scrolled my email just enough to keep the screen active. The subject line stayed visible. The sender's name sat there, calm and unbothered by the room. Jennifer straightened in her chair. You're raising her to be rigid, she said. Life isn't all rules and schedules. Some parts are, I said. And what about when that doesn't work? Jennifer pressed. What happens when she realizes she's spent all this time preparing for something that never comes? Kayla answered before I could. Then I adjust. Marcus laughed again, but there was an edge to it now. You sound like your mother. Kayla nodded. Good. Jennifer's smile faltered. You don't think maybe you should enjoy being young, Kayla said. This is how I enjoy it. That was when Jennifer reached for the mop again, lifted it just enough to draw attention, then set it back down with a small tap. Well, she said, at least you're getting familiar with the tools. A few people chuckled. Not because it was funny, because it was easier than saying something else. I felt the weight of every eye on Kayla. She didn't flinch. Instead, she zipped her bag, stood up, and slid the chair back in without scraping the floor. I'm going to get some water, she said. Sit down, Jennifer said. We're not done. Kayla paused. She looked at me. I met her gaze and nodded once. She went to the kitchen, filled a glass, and leaned against the counter, calm as ever. My mother hovered nearby, whispering something I couldn't hear. Kayla listened, nodded politely, and took a sip. At the table, Marcus resumed his story like nothing had happened. Jennifer tried to laugh along, but her attention kept drifting to the kitchen and back to my laptop. I clicked the trackpad again. The email opened fully. Attachments lined up beneath it. Lease summary, management notes, dates, clean and orderly. Jennifer saw the attachments and stiffened. What are you even doing? She asked. Reading, I said. She stared at the screen longer this time. The uncertainty from earlier sharpened into something closer to concern. Kayla returned to her seat and placed the glass carefully to the right of her plate. She sat down, hands folded in her lap, posture straight. Marcus finished his sentence and waited for laughter that didn't come. He frowned, glanced around, then looked at me. You got something to add, he asked. I rested my fingers on the edge of the laptop and felt the smooth metal under my skin. I didn't turn the screen yet. I didn't say a word. Jennifer opened her mouth, then closed it. For the first time that night, the room felt like it was holding its breath. The silence didn't last long. Marcus hated dead air. He leaned back, cleared his throat, and filled the space the way he always did. Anyway, he said, rolling his shoulders like he was resetting the room. This building is exactly what we needed. Downtown traffic, easy parking room to grow. You don't stumble into deals like that. You make them happen. A few heads nodded. My father murmured something about location. Uncle Robert leaned forward, interested now, not in the tension, but in the numbers. What'd you say the rent was again, Robert asked. $48 a month, Marcus said, proud. For that square footage, it's a steal. Jennifer smiled at him, the kind of smile that fed on approval. He negotiated hard, she said. The owner was desperate, practically begged. I kept my eyes on the screen. The attachment list didn't move. I didn't scroll. I didn't need to. I already knew what was there. Robert whistled softly. In that neighborhood, that's low. Marcus lifted his glass. Exactly. 5-year lease option to extend. I locked it down before anyone else could. Kayla sat still, hands folded, listening without listening. She'd learned to let words pass through her like weather. Jennifer turned to her. See, that's how you get ahead. You spot an opportunity and take it. Kayla nodded once neutral. Marcus warmed to the attention. The previous tenant went under, he said. Left the place empty for months. Management was panicking. I walked in at the right time. What building is it? Robert asked. The Morrison, Marcus said. On 5th. Robert's eyebrows went up. 8 stories. That's the one. Nice, Robert said. That's a solid property. It will be, Marcus said. Once I'm done with it. Jennifer reached for Marcus's hand and squeezed. He's already planning renovations. New signage. Showroom upgrades. How much are you putting into it? Robert asked. Marcus shrugged. Couple hundred, give or take. Worth it. I took a sip of water. The glass clinked softly when I set it down. Jennifer glanced at me, then away. My mother shifted in her chair. That sounds expensive. It's an investment, Jennifer said quickly. You have to spend money to make money. My father nodded, uncertain. As long as it's stable, it is, Marcus said. The terms are solid. Any termination clause? Robert asked out of habit. Marcus laughed. Standard stuff, nothing to worry about. I clicked once. The trackpad sound was barely audible. Jennifer's eyes snapped to the laptop. Can we not talk about business all night? She said. It's family dinner. You were just praising the deal I said. She smiled tightly. I'm just saying we should keep things light. Marcus waved her off. It's fine. Robert gets it. Robert leaned back. Still 5 years is a commitment. I'm not going anywhere, Marcus said. This is my flagship. Kayla glanced at me, then back at the table. She didn't say anything. Jennifer took a breath. Kayla, she said, you should pay attention. This is how adults plan. Kayla looked at her. I'm paying attention. To what? Jennifer asked. To how people talk about money, Kayla said, and how they treat each other while they do it. A couple of forks paused midair. Jennifer blinked. That's not what I meant, she said. It's what I heard Kayla said. Marcus laughed a short bark. You're sharp, he said. Just don't let it make you soft. Kayla didn't respond. She didn't need to. Jennifer leaned back again, arms crossing. You know, she said, not everyone has access to opportunities like that. Some people just work jobs. I felt my jaw tighten. I let it pass. Marcus nodded. Nothing wrong with that. Someone's got to clean up. A chuckle rippled down the table. It wasn't loud. It didn't need to be. I didn't look up. Jennifer reached for her napkin and dabbed the corner of her mouth. At least she's realistic, she said, nodding toward Kayla. No big dreams, right? Kayla met her eyes. I have goals. Jennifer smiled. Same thing. Marcus set his glass down. Goals are nice, he said. Results are better. Robert glanced between us. Lauren, what do you think? I looked up then. About the building. Robert nodded. Yeah, you've been quiet. I think the numbers explain themselves, I said. Marcus grinned. Exactly. Jennifer laughed, relieved. See? Even she agrees. I didn't correct her. My mother cleared her throat. Dessert soon? After this, Jennifer said. She shifted in her chair and glanced toward the hallway. I have something to show Kayla. She reached down and hooked her foot around the mop handle, dragging it closer to her chair. The wood scraped lightly against the floor. It wasn't loud, but it cut through the room. Kayla watched the movement without reacting. Jennifer lifted the mop and balanced it across her palms again, like she'd rehearsed the motion. You know, she said, voice light. It's good to be familiar with tools. I felt the air change. Not heavy, sharp. Marcus smirked. Practical skills, he said. Jennifer nodded. Exactly. She turned the mop, slightly angling it toward Kayla, as if offering it. No shame in starting where you can. My mother opened her mouth, closed it. My father stared at his plate. I didn't move. Jennifer extended this handle another inch. Better to be prepared, she said. Right. Kayla's eyes flicked to me, then back to the mop. She didn't reach for it. I rested my hand flat on the table again, steady. The laptop hummed quietly beside my arm. Marcus leaned forward. Come on, he said. It's just a joke. Jennifer's smile widened, satisfied now that all eyes were on her. She held the mop out, waiting. The room had gone quiet enough that I could hear the refrigerator cycle on in the kitchen. I shifted my chair slightly and adjusted the angle of the laptop so the screen faced inward just for me. I didn't touch it yet. I didn't say anything. Hey. Jennifer cleared her throat. Kayla, she said, take it. Kayla inhaled slow and controlled. I let my fingers hover over the trackpad. Kayla's breath steadied before she moved. She reached out, took the mop by the handle, and lifted it cleanly from Jennifer's hands. No hesitation, no eye contact. She set it beside her chair, aligning it with the table leg like it belonged there. Then she sat back down, opened her notebook, and returned to the line she'd marked earlier. Jennifer blinked. The room didn't react the way she'd planned. Marcus laughed anyway. There you go, he said. See, no big deal. A few people followed with small, uncertain chuckles. My mother pressed her lips together. My father's knife scraped against his plate as he cut another piece of meat he didn't eat. I kept my fingers hovering over the trackpad. I didn't touch it. Jennifer's smile wavered, then reset. Good attitude, she said. That'll take you far. Kayla didn't look up. Her pencil moved paused, then moved again. Jennifer tried again. I mean it. A lot of people don't want to hear the truth. You're handling it better than most. Kayla wrote the last number, boxed it, and set the pencil down. She closed the notebook halfway, keeping her place. What truth, she asked. Jennifer laughed softly. Don't be dramatic. I'm not, Kayla said. I'm asking. Marcus leaned in. Life's not fair, he said. You work with what you've got. Kayla nodded once. I am. Jennifer tilted her head, studying Kayla like a puzzle that wasn't cooperating. You really don't feel embarrassed? Kayla met her eyes. No. Even with everyone watching, Jennifer asked. Kayla glanced around the table. I don't see anyone I need approval from. That landed hard. Uncle Robert shifted in his seat. Someone coughed. Jennifer's smile tightened until it looked more like a grimace. Marcus waved a hand. Hey, relax. It's family. We tease. Teasing usually goes both ways, Kayla said. Jennifer scoffed. So now you're lecturing us. Kayla shook her head. No, I'm just not playing along. I placed my palm flat on the table, not to stop anything but to anchor myself. My heart rate was steady. This wasn't a moment to rush. Jennifer leaned back, arms crossed. You're raising her to be cold, she said to me. No sense of humor. I'm raising her to be focused, I said. Marcus smirked. Focused on what you think studying is a shield. Kayla closed the notebook fully and slid it into her bag. She zipped it with a soft, precise motion. It's not a shield, she said. It's preparation. Jennifer laughed again, louder this time, inviting the room to join her. Preparation for what? Kayla stood. She picked up the mop again, held it upright, and rested it lightly against her shoulder. Not defiant, not ashamed. Just factual. For work, she said. If that's what I need to do. Jennifer's laugh faltered. See, she said, looking around. She gets it. Kayla continued calm. But it's not all I'll do. Marcus raised his eyebrows. Oh, Kayla nodded. I'll do what I choose. Jennifer opened her mouth, then closed it. She hadn't expected that answer. My mother stood abruptly. Does anyone want more potatoes? No one answered. Kayla set the mop back down beside the chair and sat again. She folded her hands in her lap, posture, straight gaze steady. The moment stretched uncomfortable and exposed. Marcus cleared his throat. Anyway, he said, eager to reclaim control, like I was saying about the building. Which building? Kayla asked. Marcus paused. The Morrison, downtown. Kayla nodded. The one with the underground garage. Robert looked surprised. You know it? I looked it up, Kayla said. I like architecture. Jennifer laughed sharply. Of course you do. Marcus resumed faster now. Right. So the owner was desperate. That's the key. You find someone desperate, you get leverage. I clicked the trackpad once. The email window refreshed bright and steady. I still didn't turn the screen. Jennifer's eyes flicked to the laptop. You're really working at dinner, she asked. I'm reading, I said. She leaned forward, reading what? Documents, I said. Marcus chuckled. Let me guess. Military stuff. I didn't answer. Jennifer glanced at Kayla, then back at me. You know, she said, this is what I mean. Always distracted. Always somewhere else. Kayla spoke before I could. She's here. Jennifer frowned. Is she? Yes, Kayla said. She's watching. The room went quiet again. This time, no one rushed to fill it. Marcus set his glass down carefully. You got something to say, Lauren? I met his eyes. You've said plenty. Jennifer straightened. Don't start. I'm not starting, I said. I'm listening. Marcus scoffed. Then listen to this. The lease terms are incredible. I practically stole the place. I scrolled slow and deliberate. The attachment titles lined up like a checklist. Jennifer noticed the movement and stiffened. "What are you doing?" she asked again. I didn't answer right away. I adjusted the laptop's angle, slightly still facing me. The glow reflected faintly in my glass. Kayla watched my hands, not my face. She recognized the timing. Jennifer tapped her fingers on the table. "If you've got something to say, say it." Marcus leaned forward. "Yeah, spit it out." I rested my fingers on the edge of the laptop and felt the cool metal. I didn't turn the screen yet. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't look around the table. Kayla picked up her water glass and took a sip, unhurried. Marcus waited. Jennifer waited. The room waited. I took a breath slow and controlled and kept my eyes on the screen in front of me. I let the breath go and kept my voice level. "Marcus?" "I said you mentioned the owner was desperate." He nodded eager. "Absolutely. Place sat empty. Months." Jennifer watched my mouth instead of my eyes. She was waiting for a slip. I didn't give her one. "How long was it empty?" I asked. Marcus shrugged. 6 months. Maybe more. Bad timing, bad tenant. "Which tenant?" I asked. He frowned. "Does it matter?" "It does," I said. Marcus leaned back, annoyed now. "They went bankrupt. Left without notice. That's why I got such a good rate." Robert tilted his head. "Which firm was that?" Marcus waved a hand. "Some design outfit. Doesn't matter." I clicked the trackpad. A document opened, not turned outward just enough for me. Jennifer's fingers stopped tapping. "What are you doing?" she asked. "Checking dates," I said. Marcus snorted. "Dates?" "Yes." He laughed. "You're really doing this at dinner." "I am," I said. Kayla sat still, hands folded, watching my hands, not my face. She knew the difference between noise and movement. "Listen," Marcus said, leaning forward, voice dropping into what he probably thought was reasonable. "If you've got concerns, say them. Otherwise, let it go." "I don't have concerns," I said. "I have information." Jennifer's smile flickered. "Information about what?" "The building," I said. She rolled her eyes. "Everyone knows about the building. He's explained it 3 times. "Not everything," I said. My mother shifted. "Lauren." "It's okay," I said. Marcus smirked. "You suddenly an expert in commercial leases." "I read what I sign," I said. Robert glanced at Marcus. "Fair." Marcus's jaw tightened. "So what's your point?" I scrolled once more. The cursor moved. A name appeared at the top of the page. Jennifer leaned in to spite herself, then caught the movement and leaned back, pretending she hadn't. "My point," I said, "is that desperation doesn't always look the way people think it does." Marcus laughed. "Now you're giving lessons." "No," I said, "I'm clarifying." Jennifer crossed her arms, clarifying what? "The timeline," I said. Marcus exhaled sharply. "This is ridiculous." "Is it?" I asked. He stared at me. "You're acting like you were involved." I didn't answer right away. I adjusted the laptop's angle a fraction, still facing me. The glow reflected off my water glass. Kayla took another sip. Slow, steady. Jennifer leaned forward, voice low. "If you've got something to say, say it." I nodded once. "Okay." Marcus straightened, ready. "Go ahead." "The building you leased," I said, "wasn't empty because no one wanted it." Marcus scoffed. "You don't know that." "It was empty because the previous tenant defaulted," I said, "and the owner had to clear liens before accepting a new lease." Robert's eyebrows rose. "That tracks." Marcus frowned. "How would you know?" "I read the notices," I said. Jennifer's eyes narrowed. "What notices?" "Public filings," I said. "They're not hard to find." Marcus laughed again, but it sounded thinner now. "You really looked all this up." "I keep records," I said. He leaned forward. "Why?" "Because it's my job," I said. Jennifer scoffed. "Your job is the Navy." "And asset management," I said. The room shifted, not loudly, subtly. Chairs creaked. Forks paused. Marcus stared. "Asset management." "Yes." Jennifer waved a hand. "She means retirement accounts." "Don't be dramatic." I shook my head. "I don't." Marcus frowned. "You're serious." "I am." Robert leaned back, studying me. "You manage properties?" "Yes," I said. Jennifer laughed sharp. "Since when?" "For a while," I said. "How many?" Marcus asked, skeptical. "Enough," I said. Jennifer rolled her eyes. "This is getting absurd." "Is it?" I asked again. Marcus looked at the laptop. "If you've got proof, show it." "I didn't bring this to show anyone," I said. "Then why open it?" Jennifer snapped. "Because I needed to read something I said. And because you asked." Kayla shifted slightly in her chair, aligning the mop again without looking at it. The room noticed. That irritated Jennifer more than anything else. Marcus tapped the table. "You're dodging." "I'm not," I said. "I'm being precise." Jennifer leaned back, frustrated. "Fine, be precise." I scrolled to the top of the document. The title line settled. I read it silently once more to be sure. Marcus watched my face, searching. What does it say? I lifted my eyes to him. "It says the Morrison Building is owned by an LLC. He smirked. "Of course it is." "Yes," I said. "And it lists the principal." Jennifer leaned forward, which is... I paused, not for drama, for timing. The room had already gone quiet enough. "It's me," I said. Marcus laughed, loud, disbelieving. "That's not funny." "I'm not joking," I said. Jennifer stood halfway, then sat back down. "That's impossible." "I bought it 3 years ago," I said, "from the Henderson estate." Robert's eyes widened. "That sale was quiet." "Yes," I said, "cash." Marcus's laugh cut off. "You're lying." "I'm not," I said. Jennifer shook her head. "You run around on deployments, you don't?" "I run a cleaning company," I said. "And I use it to evaluate properties." Marcus stared. "You're saying you own the building I leased?" "I do," I said. Silence dropped hard this time. No one rushed to fill it. Jennifer's mouth open, closed. "You never said. You never asked," I said. Marcus pushed his chair back slightly. "This is a joke." "It's not," I said. Robert cleared his throat. "If that's true." "It is," I said. Marcus reached for his phone. "I'm calling my attorney." "Of course you are," I said. Kayla sat back, calm eyes on the table, like this was just another problem set being worked through. Marcus dialed, pacing now. Jennifer stared at me like she was seeing a stranger. My mother pressed her hand to her mouth. My father finally looked up from his plate. Marcus put the call on speaker. "Tell her," he said when the line connected. "Tell her who owns the Morrison." A pause. Papers rustled on the other end. "The Morrison Building is held by Summit Commercial Properties," the attorney said. "The principal owner is..." Marcus stopped pacing. Jennifer inhaled sharply. The attorney continued, clear and professional. "Lauren Reed." No one spoke, not a sound. Marcus lowered the phone, staring at the screen like it might argue back. I closed the laptop gently and set it beside my plate. I didn't look around the table. I didn't need to. I rested my hands flat on the wood and stayed where I was. Marcus didn't end the call right away. He stood there with the phone still pressed to his ear, eyes unfocused like he was waiting for the attorney to laugh and say there had been a mistake. The voice on the other end didn't change. It stayed professional, calm, and very real. "Yes," the attorney repeated. "Summit Commercial Properties, LLC. Principal owner, Lauren Reed." The lease was executed through our standard property management process. Marcus finally pulled the phone away and stared at it. "You reviewed this lease," he said. "You didn't notice." "I noticed the terms," she replied. "They were favorable. Ownership wasn't relevant to your obligations as a tenant." Jennifer leaned forward, hands gripping the table. "Wait," she said, cutting in. "Are you saying she approved it?" "The application was approved," the attorney said. "That's correct." Marcus's voice dropped. "By her." There was a pause. "By the owner's management company, which she controls." The words landed one by one, like weight being added to something already strained. Marcus swallowed. "Is this even legal?" "Yes," the attorney said. "There's no requirement for a property owner to disclose their identity to a commercial tenant. Everything was handled appropriately." Jennifer shook her head. "That can't be right." "It is," the attorney said. "If you have concerns, we can review the termination clause." Marcus's shoulders tensed. "What about it?" "You may terminate with 90 days' notice," the attorney said, "and a fee equal to 3 months' rent." Marcus did the math out loud without realizing it. "That's $144,000. "Correct," the attorney said. "Plus any improvements already made to the property, which remain with the building." Marcus closed his eyes. Jennifer grabbed his arm. "Tell her to stop," she said, voice sharp. "Tell her this is a conflict of interest." The attorney's tone didn't change. "There is no conflict. The lease is valid." Marcus ended the call without another word. The phone dropped to the table with a soft thud. No one spoke. Even the refrigerator had gone quiet. Jennifer turned to me slowly. "You did this on purpose." "I reviewed an application," I said. "You let him sign," she said. "He submitted it," I said. "I accepted it." "That's setting him up," she snapped. "No," I said, "that's business." Marcus laughed, once harsh and humorless. "You let me brag about that deal." "I didn't stop you," I said. You sat there, he said, voice rising, while I talked about stealing the place. I didn't hand anyone a mop, I said. Jennifer flinched. Marcus rubbed his temples. This is unbelievable. Robert leaned forward. It's actually pretty straightforward. Marcus shot him a look. Stay out of it. Robert didn't back down. You leased a building, the owner accepted. Terms are legal. Pride doesn't change that. Jennifer turned on Robert. You're taking her side. I'm taking reality's side, Robert said. My mother finally spoke. Lauren, she said softly, why didn't you tell us? I looked at her. About the buildings. She nodded. About any of this. I thought about it. Not long, just enough. No one asked, I said. And when I mentioned the first one years ago, Dad told me to stop being reckless. My father's face tightened. I don't remember saying that. You do, I said. You said I should focus on my job and not gamble. The table stayed quiet. Jennifer pressed her hands flat on the wood. You've been hiding this. I've been working, I said. Marcus pushed his chair back and stood. This is fraud. It's not, Robert said. This is manipulation, Jennifer said. It's documentation, I said. Marcus paced. I can get out of this. Yes, I said. With notice? And the fee, he said. Yes. And the renovations, Jennifer asked. They stay, I said. Marcus stopped pacing. You're enjoying this. I shook my head. No. Jennifer laughed bitterly. Then what? This is revenge. I met her eyes. No, this is consequence. She stared at me, searching for anger, satisfaction, anything dramatic. She didn't find it. Kayla sat quietly through all of it, hands folded, eyes steady. She hadn't looked at the mop once since the call ended. Marcus turned to her, desperate now. You knew about this. Kayla shook her head. I knew my mom owned buildings. Jennifer gasped. You told her. I told my daughter what I do, I said. That's not a secret. Jennifer sank back into her chair. How many, she asked, quieter now. 17, I said, downtown. Robert whistled under his breath. Jennifer stared at the table. You're kidding. I'm not, I said. Marcus rubbed his face. I put $200,000 into that space. Yes, I said. And if I leave, you lose it, I said. Jennifer looked up sharply. You're going to bankrupt him. No, I said. He'll stay. Marcus scoffed. I won't. You will, I said. Jennifer laughed weakly. You're so sure. I nodded. The location matters. The parking matters. The rate is below market. Breaking the lease costs more than swallowing your pride. Marcus stared at me. His jaw clenched. You planned this. I prepared, I said. Jennifer's voice dropped. All because of a stupid joke. I didn't answer. Kayla stood then, slow and deliberate. She picked up the mop and leaned it against the wall by the door, out of the way. It doesn't belong at the table, she said. No one argued. Marcus sank back into his chair. So what now, he asked. I folded my hands. Now you decide whether you want to run a business or a grudge. Jennifer shook her head. You've humiliated us. I looked at her. You humiliated a child. My mother covered her mouth. My father stared at his hands. Marcus exhaled long and shaky. We're leaving? Jennifer stood unsteady. This isn't over. I nodded. Dinner usually ends eventually. Marcus grabbed his coat. Jennifer followed eyes, never leaving mine. They stopped at the door like they expected someone to chase them. No one did. When the door closed, the sound echoed through the house louder than it should have been. Kayla returned to her seat and picked up her water glass. She took a sip, calm as ever. I stayed where I was, hands still on the table, letting the room settle into what it had become. The house didn't explode into chaos after the door closed. It did the opposite. The quiet settled in layers, heavy, but controlled, like everyone was afraid to move too quickly and knock something else loose. My mother broke first. I'm going to make coffee, she said, already standing. No one answered. The sound of the cabinet opening and closing felt louder than it should have. Robert leaned back in his chair and exhaled slowly. Well, he said that was educational. My father rubbed his hands together, staring at the table. I didn't know he said. About any of it. I know I said. Kayla stayed seated, posture straight, eyes forward. She wasn't waiting for reassurance. She didn't need it. Robert cleared his throat. For what it's worth, he said, the lease really is solid. Market rate on that building should be closer to $65 a month. Seat. My father looked up. He's paying $48. Yes, Robert said. And that's before escalators. My mother returned with coffee and set a mug in front of me without asking. So what happens now? She asked quietly. What happens next is already written, I said. He signed a 5-year agreement. Robert nodded. And breaking it hurt. How much, my father asked. Robert didn't hesitate. Termination fee is 3 months' rent. That's $144,000, plus sunk renovation costs. Those don't transfer. My mother winced. That's a lot. It's survivable, I said, just not pleasant. Kayla finally spoke. He'll stay. Everyone looked at her. Why are you so sure, my mother asked. Kayla folded her hands. Because leaving costs more than staying. Robert smiled slightly. She's right. My father shook his head. All this over one dinner. It wasn't over dinner, I said. It was over choices. My mother sat down across from me. Jennifer says you set them up. I didn't, I said. I didn't change terms. I didn't hide conditions. I accepted an application. She didn't know, my mother said. She didn't ask, I said. My father looked pained. You could have told us. I tried once, I said. It didn't go well. The clock in the hallway ticked steadily. No one rushed to fill the silence. Robert stood. I should get going. My mother touched his arm. Already. He nodded. This is a family conversation. He gave Kayla a small nod on his way out. You handled yourself well. Kayla nodded back. When the door closed behind him, my father pushed his plate away. So you own 17 buildings, he said. Not accusatory, just tired. Yes. And the cleaning company, my mother asked. It services 42, I said. Owning 17 makes maintenance easier. My father sighed. I thought it was just cleaning. It is, I said. And it isn't. My mother stared into her mug. Jennifer's going to be furious. She already is, I said. She'll call, my father said. Yes, I said. And demand explanations, my mother added. Yes. Kayla stood and began stacking plates. I can help, she said. You don't have to, my mother said. I want to, Kayla said. She carried dishes to the sink, rinsed them, and set them in the dishwasher with the same care she put into everything else. The mop still leaned against the wall near the door. No one mentioned it. My father watched Kayla work. You didn't cry, he said. Kayla shrugged. There was nothing to cry about. My mother looked at her. It must have hurt. Kayla considered that. It was uncomfortable, not hurtful. I felt something ease in my chest, not pride, relief. My phone buzzed. A text from Jennifer. 3 words. You humiliated us. I didn't reply. Another buzz. Marcus. Missed call. Then my property manager. Are you okay? Tenant called his attorney. I typed back. Everything's fine. My mother noticed the phone. They're already calling. Yes, I said. My father leaned forward. What are you going to do? Nothing, I said. The lease runs. That's it, my mother asked. That's it, I said. Kayla returned to the table and sat down. Do you want to leave? She asked me. In a minute, I said. My mother looked at Kayla. You're not angry. Kayla shook her head. I'm clear. About what my father asked. About who I listened to, Kayla said. That landed quietly but firmly. My phone buzzed again. Jennifer this time. A longer message. Accusations. Questions. Demands. I read it once and locked the screen. My mother reached for my hand. I wish tonight had gone differently. So do I said. But you don't regret it, she said. No, I said. My father nodded slowly. I think I understand. Kayla picked up her bag. Can we go? She asked. Yes, I said. My mother stood and hugged Kayla tightly. You're a good kid, she said. Kayla returned the hug, brief but genuine. I know. My father hugged me next. You should have told me sooner, he said. I tried, I said. He nodded. I hear you now. We stepped out into the night. The air was cooler than it had been earlier, sharp and clean. Kayla walked beside me, shoulders relaxed. In the car, she buckled her seatbelt and stared ahead. He's going to stay, she said again. Yes, I said. And he's going to hate it, she added. Yes. She nodded, satisfied. That's expensive. It is, I said. She leaned her head back against the seat. I'm okay, she said. I know, I said. My phone buzzed once more as I pulled out of the driveway. A new message from Marcus. We need to talk. I didn't answer. Kayla watched the streetlights pass one by one, then opened her bag and pulled out her notebook. She flipped to a fresh page and began writing pencil, moving in steady strokes. I kept my eyes on this road and drove us home. The car rolled to a stop at a red light, and Kayla kept writing like nothing else mattered. The glow from the street lamp slid across the windshield and faded again. I waited until we were back on the main road before speaking. You don't have to study tonight, I said. She didn't look up. I want to. I nodded and drove. The house was quiet when we got home. Kayla set her bag down, lined her shoes by the door, and went straight to the kitchen to refill her water bottle. I checked the lock's habit more than concern and set my phone on the counter face down. It buzzed anyway. Jennifer, again. I ignored it. Kayla sat at the table and spread her notes out, posture, relaxed, shoulders loose. There was no tension in her movements, no delayed reaction waiting to break through later. Some people think strength shows up as anger. Others mistake composure for denial. I've learned the difference the hard way. I poured myself a glass of water and sat across from her. "Do you want to talk about it?" I asked. She shook her head. "I already know what I think, which is that I don't need her approval," she said, "or his." "That's fair," I said. She capped her bottle and leaned back in her chair. "You weren't mad." "I was paying attention," I said. She smiled slightly. That was better. My phone buzzed again, Marcus this time. Then Jennifer, then my mother. I picked it up and silenced it. The room felt calmer immediately. Kayla watched me. "Are they going to keep calling?" "Yes," I said. "Are you going to answer?" "Not tonight," I said. She nodded. "Good." The next morning, I woke early out of habit. Kayla slept in. I made coffee, reviewed emails, and flagged a few messages for later. One from my property manager confirmed what I already knew. The tenant had called twice, angry and confused, asking about exit options that didn't exist. Another message came through while I was reading. "Jennifer longer this time. You embarrassed us in front of everyone. You could have handled that privately. This didn't have to turn into a spectacle." I read it once and closed it. Kayla came into the kitchen a few minutes later, hair still damp from the shower. "They still upset?" she asked. "Yes," I said. She shrugged. "That makes sense." "Does it?" I asked. She thought about it. "People don't like being treated the way they treat others." I smiled. "That's accurate." She poured cereal and sat down. "Are we still going to Grandma's next Sunday?" "I don't know," I said. She nodded, accepting the uncertainty without pushing. Around noon, my mother called. I let it ring once, then answered. "Are you okay?" she asked. "Yes." "Jennifer says you're cutting her off." "I'm setting boundaries," I said. "She's your sister." "I know," I said. "That doesn't mean she gets access without respect." There was a pause. "She's hurting." "So is Kayla," I said. "She didn't look hurt," my mother said. "That's not the same thing," I said. Another pause. "I wish you'd told us sooner." "I told you when it mattered," I said. My mother sighed. "Will you still come by?" "Yes," I said. "When it's calm." After I hung up, Kayla looked up from her notes. That was Grandma. "Yes. She's worried. She usually is." Kayla smiled faintly. I don't blame her. That afternoon, Marcus left a voicemail. Short, controlled, asking to talk, suggesting they could work something out. I didn't delete it. I didn't respond. Kayla watched me listen to it. "Are you going to?" Eventually, I said. "Why?" "Because boundaries don't mean silence forever," I said. "They mean choosing when and how." She nodded. "That makes sense." Later, we went for a walk. Nothing dramatic. Just the neighborhood familiar sidewalks, dogs barking behind fences. Kayla talked about her counselor meeting, about scholarship deadlines, about a math problem she couldn't quite resolve. I listened. At dinner, my phone buzzed again. Jennifer this time shorter. "We didn't know. You should have told us." I set the phone down without answering. Kayla noticed. "She's trying to rewrite it." "Yes," I said. "Are you going to let her?" "No," I said. She smiled, satisfied. That night, after Kayla went to bed, I finally replied to Marcus. One sentence. "We can talk next week, through email." No insults, no explanations. I slept well. The following day, my leave clock kept ticking. Errands, laundry, paperwork. Life moving forward without asking permission. Jennifer didn't stop trying. Texts, calls, messages through my mother, each one framed differently. Confusion, anger, guilt. None of them included an apology. Kayla noticed. "She hasn't said sorry." "No," I said. "Does that matter?" "Yes," I said. "But it's not my job to force it." On my last evening at home, Kayla packed her bag for school the next day. She lined everything up on her desk, checked her planner, and set her alarm. "You ready for me to go back?" I asked. She nodded. "I'm good." "You sure?" "Yes," she said. "I know how to handle things." I believed her. My phone buzzed one last time that night. A message from my property manager. Tenant confirmed he's staying. Renovations continue as planned. I locked the screen and set the phone down. Kayla finished packing and sat on her bed tying her shoes. He's stuck, isn't he? Yes, I said. She stood and slung her backpack over her shoulder, testing the weight. That's a long time. 5 years, I said. She nodded thoughtful. That's a lot of rent. It is, I said. She smiled. Good. I turned off the lights and followed her out of the room. The house quiet and settled around us exactly the way I needed it to be. The morning I left, Kayla stood in the doorway with her backpack on, hair pulled back, shoes tied tight. She hugged me once, firm and quick the way she always did, when she didn't want to linger. I'll text you when I get home, she said. I know, I said. I drove to the airport, returned the rental, cleared security, and boarded without drama. Routine has a way of sanding down emotion until it fits where it belongs. By the time the plane leveled off, my phone was already quiet again. Back on base, life resumed its normal pace. Briefings, emails, schedules that didn't care what happened at a family dinner. I unpacked, checked in, and went back to work. The Navy doesn't pause for personal milestones, humiliations, or revelations. That's part of why it works. 2 days later, my property manager sent an update. Renovations were moving forward, permits approved, contractors on schedule. The tenant had asked again about adjusting terms. The answer was still no. I forwarded the message to my records folder and went on with my day. Marcus sent one email. It was polite, clipped, and carefully neutral. He wanted to discuss future alignment and long-term cooperation. I replied once equally brief. All communication would go through management. That was it. Jennifer didn't write at first. When she finally did, it wasn't an apology. It was a request. Can we talk? She asked. I read it and closed the app. Kayla texted that evening. Quiz went well. Counselor meeting moved up. She sent a photo of her notes, neat and organized. I replied with a thumbs up and went back to what I was doing. A week later, the first rent payment posted. On time. Full amount. I didn't celebrate. I didn't comment. I archived the confirmation and moved on. The building existed whether I looked at it or not. That was the point. My mother called the following Sunday. She didn't mention dinner. She asked about the weather, about Kayla, about whether I was eating enough. Normal questions carefully chosen. Marcus and Jennifer are busy, she said at one point. I imagine, I said. He's stressed, she added. I imagine, I said again. She hesitated. They're staying. Yes, I said. Another pause. He didn't have much choice. No, I said. She changed the subject. Weeks passed. The building filled out. Signage went up. Cars started appearing in the garage earlier and leaving later. Business did what business does when the numbers make sense. Every month the payment arrived. Kayla adjusted to this rhythm of school. She joined a study group. She submitted applications. She stopped mentioning her aunt entirely. Not out of bitterness, out of clarity. One evening, she called me while I was reviewing paperwork. He asked about you, she said. Who? I asked. Marcus, she said. Ran into him at the grocery store. I waited. He told me you were tough, she said. Like it was a compliment. And I asked. I told him I know, she said. Then I paid for my stuff and left. I smiled. That's efficient. She laughed. I learned from you. Another month, another payment, no delays, no excuses. Jennifer sent another message. Longer this time. Softer. She talked about misunderstandings and family and how things had gotten out of hand. She didn't mention the mop. She didn't mention what she said. She didn't mention Kayla. I didn't respond. On a quiet afternoon, my property manager called. Just so you know, he said tenant requested a meeting again. What did you tell him? I asked. That all communication stays formal, he said. He wasn't happy. Is he current? I asked. Yes, he said. Then we're done, I said. Kayla sent me her first acceptance letter a week later. Partial scholarship, strong terms. She didn't sound surprised. She sounded ready. I'm still waiting on the others, she said. I know, I said. Another payment arrived. At Thanksgiving, my parents asked if we'd all be together. I said no. Kayla and I made our own plans. We cooked too much food, watched a movie halfway through, and went for a walk after. No speeches, no tension, just space. Jennifer texted that night, Happy Thanksgiving. I replied the next morning, Happy Thanksgiving to you too. Nothing more. Marcus didn't stop paying. The location mattered. The rate mattered. The math always won. Kayla kept studying. She kept planning. She stopped carrying her notebook to family gatherings because there were fewer gatherings to attend. One evening, she asked me something I hadn't expected. "Do you think she meant it?" she asked. What I said. What she said Kayla said, about my future. I thought for a moment. "I think she meant what she needed to mean," I said. "That doesn't make it true." Kayla nodded. "Good." Another payment posted. Jennifer eventually apologized. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't complete. It arrived in pieces, scattered through a longer message about family and stress and pride. She didn't ask for forgiveness. She asked for access. I read it. I didn't answer right away. When I did, it was simple. "We can talk when Kayla is ready." Kayla read the message when I showed her. She didn't react much. "Not yet," she said. "That's fine," I said. The months continued. Seasons changed. The building stayed busy. The numbers stayed consistent. Marcus stopped asking for meetings. Jennifer stopped explaining herself. The system didn't care who felt embarrassed or justified. It only cared that obligations were met. Every month the payment arrived. Kayla received her final acceptance in the spring. Better terms. More options. She chose carefully, the way she always did. "I don't need to rush," she said. "No," I said, "you don't." We celebrated quietly. No posts, no announcements, just dinner at home and a plan on paper. Later that night, my phone buzzed. Another rent confirmation. Same amount, same date. I locked the screen and set it down. Kayla went back to her desk and opened her notebook, flipping to a fresh page. She wrote the date at the top, underlined it once, and started outlining her next steps. I watched her for a moment, then turned off the light in the hallway and let the house settle. Some lessons don't need reminders. Some don't fade. They show up on a schedule regular and unavoidable. Every month. People often think revenge has to be loud to be effective. It doesn't. Sometimes it's quiet, structured, and boring in the best possible way. What happened at that dinner wasn't about winning an argument or humiliating someone back. It was about refusing to let a child's future be defined by someone else's insecurity. Kayla didn't need shouting. She didn't need saving. She needed space clarity and the freedom to keep choosing her own direction. Family drama has a way of exposing who respects boundaries and who only respects power. In the end, the system spoke. Contracts held. Time passed, and a lesson that started with a mop turned into something far more permanent. If you're drawn to family revenge stories where patience beats rage, where family drama unfolds through real choices and real consequences, consider subscribing to the channel. These stories aren't about fantasy payback. They're about quiet strength discipline and what happens when you let the truth do the work.